Well, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another stream. Of course, tonight we're getting back to horror talk. Sorry, I had to do something here. Um, so yeah, we're just gonna obviously do what we always do, just kind of hang out and talk about obviously horror movies, whatever. So be sure to hit the like button and subscribe button as always. Um, but anyways, I hope all you guys are doing well. Um, and yes, we are getting back to talking, horror movies again. Obviously, yesterday I wanted to do something a little different because, because I didn't, I just wanted to do something new. But we're finally getting back to talking horror on the channel because this is a horror channel. So, and we probably need to keep it. I'm probably going to keep it to horror from now on. I wanted to just do a little something different, last night, which um because again, I always, talked about the same things, most of the time. But anyways, yeah, so we're getting back to it. Really, really, excited for this hang out, talk some horror movies, whatever, and talk about, Scream as always, uh Halloween, the Halloween franchise, whatever. So, and we already got somebody in here, Scott Walker. How's it going, man? Hey, my friend. Sorry I haven't spoken to you a long time, especially yesterday. I was very busy. Oh no, that's good, man. That's all right. I'm happy that you're here. It's good to see you. It's been a long time. Cause yeah, obviously I don't know if you know, but I've been pretty busy as well. Obviously the past couple weeks. So that I haven't been on in a while, but this is like until like last night, of course. But yeah, I've been really, really busy, So I haven't really got. I didn't really have the chance to go live or anything because I was busy. But I'm happy to be back for sure. I was supposed to ask you this yesterday. What do you think about the idea of more DC crossover? Oh, that would be awesome. Honestly, that would be. I would love that. That would be awesome. Yep, I would love that for sure. But anyways, get back to horror here. So obviously we um obviously I've been reading a lot of Scream 7 news and whatnot. Been reading a lot of news about, obviously we all know that Nev Campbell is coming back, and also Kevin Williamson is coming back as well. Um, but I personally, I predicted that Nev Campbell would be back. I said that in many videos before, and I turned out to be right. So, but I did not know. I did not think that Kevin Williamson was going to come back. Um, so that was kind of like a. It was kind of. I was kind of shocked when he decided that he was going to come back because I didn't think that he would. Um, but yeah, I'm really really excited. For Scream 7, of course. I think they start filming, I believe, this summer. I believe so. We won't get the film until like next year, which which I didn't really expect to get it any like sooner, anyways, because obviously this is basically like the trilogy. So, well, a lot of people don't really consider this to be like a trilogy, but it kind of is in a way because if you think about it, um, if you think about it, Scream 5, Scream 6, Scream 7, Scream 5 and 6, they're both like radio silence films. So, and then Scream 4 is obviously a Wes Craven film. Even though, yeah, you could say, well, they're basically the same timeline or whatever. Scream 5 is the same timeline as Scream 4, just, it's a part of like this, is a part of Scream 4. But I don't really, I mean, I agree with that, but then again, I'm just saying this is basically like another like Radio Silence's trilogy. If you know what I'm saying. Um, so I don't think that because a lot of people already say that we already had our trilogy in Scream 6, you know, but honestly, I think this is basically. I'll just call this maybe like the finale because obviously this is gonna be the last, which I think it's gonna be the last Scream film until possibly until like maybe for like 5 years or so, because obviously this film is obviously going to be it's going to be it's basically like the finale. So, and I know that it's going to be like Nev Campbell's last for sure. Um, so I'm not really, honestly, I'm not really surprised by that. I kind of already knew that anyways, but anyway, so yeah, so Scream 7, obviously, really, really excited for that, of course. There's a lot of things that I really want to see in that film. Like, obviously, Stu. We've been talking about that, on the channel. And yeah, like, I just want to see it. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen or not because obviously we don't know, but I just have, a lot of hope because I just think that the story is like, it fits well, especially at Scream 5 and 6, you know. Remember what Matthew said about his return for Scream 7. He said, I don't need him, but I think he is going to be in the movie. He won't tell anybody he's going to be in the film. It's going to be. Yeah, exactly. That's what I've been saying too. He's not going to tell you straight up that he's going to be in the film. He's not going to tell you straight up. Of course, he's going to lie about it because, that would ruin the whole, that would ruin the whole surprise, right? So I don't see why people are like, well, he would have already said. There's some fans out there that are basically saying that he would have already said that he was going to be in the film, but I'm just saying, like, if you really think about it, no, he wouldn't, because it would give away the surprise. Because if he comes out and if he just comes out and tells you he's going to be in the film, well, you're basically spoiling it for everyone. So that wouldn't be the smart thing to do. Like, that wouldn't be. I mean, if I was an actor and if I was like a return character, would say, I'm not going to come out and just say I'm going to be in the film, because it's meant to be a surprise. So You know, I personally, I would want him to lie to me about it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So, because I don't want to, I want to go into the movie being surprised. Charlie Walker to me was nothing but a Steve Mocker copycat. The way he killed people and the way he got it, Olivia, that is definitely show everyone he was nothing but. Yeah, I don't really like Charlie personally. You already know my views on that. Like, I'm not really a big fan of him, but yeah, I kind of think too that he's a Stu copycat, somewhat. And also, he's a Randy copycat. So I think he's a Stu and Randy copycat because obviously he knew like all the rules. What would you say if they did an Australian version of Scream? Oh yeah, you asked for this before. Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool because I think that like going to like other countries and whatnot, that would be something different, you know. And I don't really want to see them just keep going to the same like location every time they make a Scream film because just because the film is just because Scream is based in Woodsboro doesn't necessarily mean that all the films gotta have to be that doesn't mean that all the films had to take place in Woodsboro or anything like that because I mean we've seen a lot of other movies obviously the Friday the 13th films for instance of course Jason X that was a little different than obviously Jason Takes Manhattan of course. I mean that was a little different because Jason is more obviously he can't die so and Ghostface yeah he's considered an icon but he's like it's basically like a real human so but anyways I don't really think that's I think they could do something like I'm not saying that a Scream film in space would be I'm not saying I would be a fan of that because I don't think I would be, but I would like to, go to a newer location, like another country. That would be pretty cool, like France even, where it like snows. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to stay in one location all the time just because a movie takes place there. And I've been saying that about the Halloween films as well. Maybe they could do a Halloween film where in another like country or something, or like a city, like New York or something, or like Hollywood. Well, I guess H2O was in Hollywood still, but um, in a way, I guess. But I guess, I mean, yeah, it was pretty much in Hollywood. I would say it was in the it was it was filmed in the Hollywood Hills. So, but I'm just talking about like a Halloween film like in downtown area, which that'd be I mean that could be a little weird I guess in a way, but at the same time like Michael Myers could go anywhere in my opinion as well, and yeah I really wouldn't mind seeing a new like location. For Matthew Lillard to say he's not going to be in Scream 7, it's going to be a Tobey Maguire type situation. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he doesn't want to. Obviously, if he says straight up that he's going to be in the film again. You know, he's basically giving away the secret. So, do you think Nev Campbell knows Matthew Lillard is going to return for Scream 7, or do you think she'll keep that very quiet? Another round for the big reveal of that. Well, I think that she's going to keep that quiet because obviously, again, that's giving away you're basically spoiling everyone. You're basically giving it away. So, of course, even if she does know that he's going to be in the film, she's not going to come out. She's going to lie about it too, of course, right? So, that's what I would expect. Again, I would want her and Matthew Lillard both, to lie about it because again, I don't want the movie to be spoiled again. But that wouldn't be very fun. Basically already knowing what's going to happen, like I would love to see a scene in Scream 7 where you see another one of our characters on a plane and Ghostface is hiding somewhere on the plane and the attacks the people. Oh, that would be awesome as well. And I thought they were gonna do that in Scream 6. I had made like kind of a prediction, like to where maybe they like fly to a city or something like that. Like let's just say if they go back to Hollywood again, which I'm not saying that they are, but it's definitely a possibility. Um, let's just say that they're going to go back to Hollywood. Well, they could do something like to where they could do something to where they're on like a plane or something, like traveling, to Hollywood or something on a plane, you know, and that would be I would like that too. That's something different, you know. Am I like? I've been saying that I want something different, so don't want to keep continuing the same old like openings. Like, but yeah, like I really do believe that this movie is set up to be like a cult. Like, I have a feeling that this movie is gonna have a cult in it. Like, that just seems like that's where they're going with it. That's just my theory, though. Could be wrong, but yeah. So, but yeah, I forgot to tell you guys before we started the stream, but I'm gonna have to like reschedule my Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise talk. Obviously, we're going to be talking Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Saturday now because tomorrow I will be out of town, so I won't be able to do that stream tomorrow. So I had to reschedule for Saturday. Um, just wanted to let you guys know that before. But yeah, so there's a lot of underrated franchises out there in terms of like like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I've been saying that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise is probably the most underrated because again, it doesn't really get talked about as much. And it came out way before, Halloween did in 19, I think 74. So I definitely think it's one of the more underrated, franchises out there because a lot of people just don't really talk. A lot of people don't really talk about it as much, you know. And it did come out way before, obviously Halloween did. So Leatherface was basically like the first like icon, like to make like the big screen. So and then after that was obviously Michael Myers, and after that was obviously Jason, and then Freddy Krueger, of course. But yeah, Leatherface was actually the very first. It came out obviously in 1974. So I definitely think it's it's definitely the more underrated franchises. And of course, there's some movies that I don't really like the 1985 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't really like that one too much. But I don't know. It's just like the look of Leatherface in that film, and then they like drastically changed it, changed the look like later, which is kind of disappointing. They did a movie with all slasher, um, all slasher, yeah, with obviously like Ghostface, Michael Myers, Jason, and Freddy. I think the Ghostface should be Schumacher. Who do you think, or what do you think about this for a film? That would be awesome. I've been saying that we need more crossovers. Like even though like Ghostface is more of like a human, of course, and of course he's not going to be able to fight like Michael Myers or Jason or even like Freddy. Of course, he's going to lose because obviously he's a real human. He could die fast. So I don't really think that would be. I don't think that would be much. I don't think that would be fun at all, personally, because obviously he would just lose in like 5 seconds because he is a real human. But um, so obviously, yeah, Michael Myers, of course, Jason and Freddy would absolutely destroy him easily. Um, and I don't even think Ghostface would even last that long. So that's the reason why I don't really think it would make that sense or that much sense. Excuse me. Because again, he's a real human. He's not like an undead like zombie or anything like a Jason or like if you wanted to put like somebody like Pennywise in there or something, I would be okay with that. But putting like Ghostface in there, nah, I'm sorry. Like I love the Scream films, but let's just be honest here, guys. Like Ghostface is not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to fight Michael Myers or Jason, like or Freddy. Like so, he's too humanly for that. You know what I'm saying? If he was just a character like if he was like another like undead like zombie like them, or just a killer that didn't die or something, well, that'd be a little different. But this is obviously more, this is more humanly, and it just wouldn't be fun to watch. It just wouldn't be entertaining at all to me. Especially if you add like Leatherface in there. Yeah, no, sorry. Ghostface is not gonna last like 5 seconds in that fight. And even Chucky's another like even though he's a doll, he can't die. Like I mean, you could try to kill him, but he'll just keep on coming back, and there's just really nothing you could do. Same with Freddy. Same with Jason and Michael Myers, of course. You know, I mean, not the villain fight. I mean, like characters like Sidney and others. The other characters are all in franchise. Oh, I know what you mean. So you mean like have all the characters from other franchises come together, but have it what be one slasher film? Okay, but with all like with Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy, like all of one film, but they're not like fighting each other. I think I know what you mean. That makes a lot more sense because I was thinking like that wouldn't be realistic if they put if Ghostface had to fight Michael Myers. That wouldn't be that wouldn't be a good fight in my opinion. Um, Not my opinion, but because obviously Ghostface is a human. Obviously, it wouldn't be a great fight. I don't think it would be boring. Of course, he would, like I was saying, he would just die like within like 5 seconds probably. That's what I mean. Okay, yeah, I understand what you meant. I thought you meant like a crossover film where they all fight each other. But yeah, like, and people don't really realize like the Scream movies are the most realistic films, in in terms of because it's born humanly, and people think that every horror film has to be kind of like a creature kind of thing, like a zombie kind of thing, which doesn't necessarily have to be just that. It could also be humanly too, like so. Yeah, because if you really think about it, like Scream, okay, like we'll just say like a lot of people, a lot of people out there would be calling like Ghostface like a bum, calling him like a bum and all that, like because he's a real human, could die easily. Um, but a lot of people just don't really, and a lot of people just think that they basically say that the mask reminds them of like Scary Movie, but that's probably because they watched Scary Movie first before they watched the Scream films. But when people say that they don't care for Scream, well, that everybody's got their own preferences. But I think Scream is the most realistic franchise because, again, it's more humanly. You know, he can die fast, of course, because it's a real human. So and you get different killers in every movie, so it's like, so realistically, you're not going to survive. Let's just say, like Michael Myers, like, you really think that a killer or anybody's going to survive like 100 bullets? No. Realistically, they're going to die easily. Like, so that's why I think like the Scream films are the most like realistic, because obviously he died. You're not going to survive like 100 bullets. So, but nothing against like the Halloween films, of course, and the Friday the 13th films. Of course, I like those. The Halloween films are my second favorite. But I'm just saying, like, the Scream films are, the most realistic, because it is like, more humanly. So, and look, there's a lot of people out there that don't really like Scream that much. There's a lot of people that don't really care for the Scream films. You know, and hey, everyone's got their own opinion, right? Everybody's got, again, they got their own preference. They could like whatever they like, of course. Everybody's got different, preferences. A lot of people, there's people out there that don't like the Halloween films. There's people out there that don't like the Child's Play films, the Friday the 13th films. Like, and me, I'm not really like, I was kind of like, before, I really wasn't into the Friday the 13th franchise as much as Halloween, because I feel like, the Halloween films are just a lot more, like, a lot funner. But I do like the Friday the 13th films because, and Friday the 13th is probably the most entertaining franchise, because obviously Jason, the way he kills people, and it's just more entertaining, you know. But other than that, like, I didn't really care, for I didn't really care for Jason that much, before. Obviously, now I'm really, really into Jason. Of course, he's my third favorite. Um, the Friday the 13th films are my third favorite, and then Halloween second. But like, I didn't really like get into it as much as the Halloween films, but I still like them. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, there's a film that you don't really care for, like, let's say, like, uh, Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't really care for that film either, but I still have it. You know what I mean? Because I'm a horror fan. I like slasher films, so I collect basically all the movies, all the slasher film, because I want to collect slasher films, and I may not be a big fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, but I do still have it, and I still do have the box set because it's obviously it's obviously a slasher. And then Friday the 13th, of course, I prefer Friday the 13th over Nightmare on Elm Street. Um, I would say, but I still have Nightmare on Elm Street, and I still had the Nightmare on Elm Street box set, even though I don't really watch. But yeah, the same with the Leprechaun. The Leprechaun films are another ones that another franchise that I don't really like. I don't really understand necessarily. I mean, I don't really care for it as much. Um, it's just not really for me. It's just a little weird. Like the Chucky, I guess like the Chucky. I prefer Child's Play more than that franchise, of course, because I feel like the Child's Play franchise is more. I enjoy those way more than the Leprechaun films for some reason. It's maybe because the Leprechaun, I don't know, the character just doesn't really like. I don't really like care for it. Um, it's really not for me, I guess. Like, which nothing against leprechauns, of course, because I'm part Irish, but I don't I just don't like that like the franchise is a little weird. I looked on the internet a while ago. I know why they didn't film Scream 5 at the actual Stew House. It was because COVID. It wasn't money. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and also it could have been COVID, and maybe like the owner didn't want them to film there or something. I don't know, but it could have been COVID. That's a little bit. That's a little. That's kind of difficult to. Like I don't really know what the reasoning is. Honestly, I don't know if it was COVID, if it was money, but it's a little difficult. What do you think of the idea of Anna Faris, Ghostface returning for the Scary Movie 7? Uh, Ghostface returns. They're making a Scary Movie 7? I didn't even know that. I'm gonna have to look that up. Wow, I didn't know that. I'm not really a big fan of the Scary Movie franchise either, personally, because I feel like they're just, they're really not entertaining. Okay, maybe like the original ones, like especially like the second one, like the first one. You guys already know my view about Scary Movie, the first Scary Movie film. I don't like that film at all, like because it's making fun of Scream. It's not really funny. Like it's really not funny, in my opinion. Um, and obviously the mask, looks stupid. It looks like it got melted, like looks like it got like cooked in like the microwave or something. Like looks absolutely ugly, which a lot of people will say, well, that's the point because it's a parody, but it still looks stupid in my opinion. Like I don't really like it, but hey, I mean, it is a parody film, so I mean, I guess it is the point of a parody film, but and then again, there's a lot of people out there that would you guys know I talked about this before. I talked about Scary Movie 1 um, on the channel. I actually went on a rant about it because I think Wes Craven. I think he was going to sue the company for making that movie because they didn't. I guess they didn't have like permit. They didn't get his permission to make the film. I guess so. They basically just made it and didn't even ask him or anything. You know, um, didn't get his permission or anything like that. I think he was going to like sue him for that. because they basically are making fun of Scream, and they didn't get his permission, you know. Um, so like a lot of people just there's a lot of people out there that always say, "Well, scary movie is better than the Scream film." Like that's absolute just insane to say. All right, like a lot of people, I know a lot of everybody's got their own opinion. You know, everyone's got their own. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but to me, I'm not going to sit here and say that scary movie is better than the Scream films. That's crazy. All right, that's crazy to say. So you would rather watch a parody over the actual Scream films? Like, no, not me. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but you know, it's just like me. It just doesn't really make sense because if there would be no scary movie if there was no Scream, in my opinion. Scream is the one that made scary movie. And if they would have got permission from Wes Craven, then maybe I would have been okay with it. But they didn't get his permission. And if I was Wes Craven, I would have sued him for that, you know? What I said earlier about the crossover with all the slasher films and the heroes, how cool if Daniel Harris interested in this film instead of Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I don't know what you're really talking about. I don't know if you're talking about, oh, you're talking about like the slasher crossover. Yeah. And I think that's a really cool idea as well. Like, I talked about that on the channel as well. And I talked about like them potentially making a slasher film where you have like Jamie Lee, Nev Campbell, and just together in one film, like working together. I would like that. That would be, and even Daniel Harris too, like you were saying, that would be awesome. Yeah, let's do it, man. I'm down for that. I've been saying that we need something where they collab with each other. With scary movie, I've heard of Wes Craven. Heard that Wes Craven happy with the movie, and he sued the people making that film. He wasn't too happy with it, but still made for a scream. Yeah, I heard that he was going to sue him, but I don't think he did. I don't know which story is true, but I heard that he wasn't. I heard that he didn't. That he was going to sue him for making that film, but I don't think that he did. So I don't really know if he actually did or if he was going to, but if he didn't, I would have sued him personally. Shit. Sorry for my language, by the way. I didn't mean to cuss or anything. I don't like doing that on the channel. Um, so my apologies there for my language there, but um, I would have I would have sued him if he didn't, of course. Which I don't know what's true and what's not. You know, I've been watching all the Scream movies in a row, so I do 100% believe it was Stu that did attack Sydney in Scream 3. And I do believe he was the one that killed Dewey in Scream 5. Yep, I do as well. And I heard a lot of people talking about that as well, like in Scream 3, you know, that scene where Sydney's walking in her house. Basically how he like teleports in that scene. A lot of people view that and say, well, that was Stu, you know, in that scene, which is very possible. And also too, I mean, there was many scenes that, you know, where he was like teleporting in that film, and like even like at the end, and you know, the Milton's mansion scene. You know, he was basically like teleporting everywhere. Like he was just teleporting. Like, so I don't know. Like a lot of people will say, well, it was Stu. I also think it could have been, you know, Angelina potentially, because she was originally gonna be, you know, the second killer. Um, but I could definitely see it, you know, see it being Stu as well. So I think it could have been Stu. Because again, there's no way that he's gonna be teleporting like that. Like that he's gonna be outside and then 1 minute he's inside already. Like there's just no there's just no way. So there was definitely two killers in that scene. And as I was saying the Milton's mansion scene as well, like he was basically like teleporting, you know. Basically, I don't know if you know what scene I'm talking about when I think it's when Kincaid comes in or whatever, and he like basically teleports, like he's like laying on the ground, but then all of a sudden he disappears, and then all of a sudden he ends up behind him, like for some like somehow I don't know how that. Definitely two killers, but either that or maybe there was like a secret, because there was like a secret like passage, I guess, in that mansion. So, um, but yeah, there's many times where you see him teleporting. You know, he's in one spot and then the next minute he's in another spot that fast. Like it's kind of weird, you know. Um, but I do think that it could have been Angelina, but also I could also believe it could have been Stu. You know, because I'm on both sides. Because I think Angelina was the second killer, even though she wasn't revealed as a second killer. I think that she was, you know, secretly the second killer in that film, and I still believe it. I still believe that she could also be, you know, she could also be alive as well. Who really knows? Just taking red for a walk while I'm talking to you, in the live stream. And that's oh yeah, that's cool. Is that your dog? In Stream 3, when we see the studio set of Stu's house. Yeah, that's the actual. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that scene where you see the studio set of Sydney's house and Stu's house. Um, that was actually the actual house they used in Scream 5. Or was it the actual house that they used in Scream 5, or do you think that was a different one or another replica? Um, I think that was definitely a replica because obviously it was like a studio, so of course it's a Hollywood like studio thing. So of course that was probably like they probably made that like built that by themselves like on their own. So I think that was definitely a replica. I don't think that was the real house. Cause even like the Sydney house, I think that was a replica as well. Because they were like across, from each other. It was like a Hollywood set. So they built that. At that. Those are like replicas. What are the chances Randy made a video before he died? And that video does reveal the truth about Stu being alive. Is there a chance there is is there a chance that video is still out there? Yeah, I definitely think it is. Because obviously we don't know Martha Meeks, may have obviously she's still alive and she could be in Scream 7, maybe. Um, but who's to say that she doesn't have like more videos, Like, and a lot of people don't really want to see that necessarily because they kind of want to move on from that. But honestly, I don't really mind it. And I want to see a little bit more. Because maybe, and I had a theory that I don't know if you agree with it, but I had a theory that Dewey potentially knew as well. Like, I have a theory that Randy possibly knew, and also Dewey. I think I think he knew. I think he knew that Stu was alive because he was basically talking about Stu in the present tense, as we talked about before. Um, so that kind of tells you that he already kind of like knows, like he had to have known. He just didn't want to tell Sydney or Gil or anything because he was just too like scary to tell him. So, but I think that he knew honestly, and I think he's just been hiding it. Same with the Randy even, who I think that he could have known too. But he was just afraid to like tell him, But that's just my theory on that. Um, and the people always go back to the thing where, well, if Gail would have already known, she would have wrote a book about him. No, she wouldn't have, because if you think about it, when you like fake a death, you basically like change like your identity and all that. You know what I mean? So, of course, you're not going to write about somebody that's dead. You know what I mean? So that's where I don't agree when people say that. Like, well, the people that don't really like Stu, the people that say that he's not alive, that people they don't. the ones that are not on the Stu train, um, that don't think that he's alive at all. Like, um, and then on top of that, they always go on to say that oh, well, Wes Craven and them didn't like the idea. Well, Wes Craven, it's not that they didn't like the idea. The reason why the Stu return didn't happen in Scream 3 was because of the Combine shooting. That's the real reason why they didn't bring him back. And why would you bring back a dead person anyways? Why would you have plans on bringing back a dead person if he was dead, you know? So I don't really. That's what I'm like saying. Like, there's just so many clues. And yeah, and the only reason why they didn't bring him back was because of the Combine shooting. And who knows what could have happened, you know, if the Combine shooting didn't happen. Who's to say that he, wouldn't have, who's to say that they wouldn't have, who's to say that they would have not brought, like, who's to say that he wouldn't have been back, he could have been. Maybe it was just the Combine shooting was the main reason, and I think that was the main reason why they didn't bring him back. I mean, Wes Craven had plans, to bring him back originally, and same with Randy too. He had the plan. He had this is basically what was supposed to happen. All right, so basically, the Randy character, obviously, he regretted killing that character off, which I completely agree with that. Like, I don't think that they should have done that personally, because I felt like he was a character that had a lot more in him. Should have been at least in like 2 more films. But the whole Randy thing, if you guys don't remember, they were going to bring him back as well. In Scream 2, in Scream 3. And they were going to say that basically that he got attacked by the killer, but he ended up surviving. And then that basically his family was going to like hide him away or something. Like, and that was what they were going to, that was the plan originally, but then they decided to keep him dead because obviously they had that rule, but they had that rule of, if you're dead, you have to stay dead, I guess, so they didn't go with that plan. Like, they were definitely thinking about doing that. Like, and I wish they would have, because I felt like Randy was a character that they should have lived a lot longer. Because obviously to me he's like another like OG character, let's see here. But yeah, I do think that there's something there, there's a lot of people even had theories that Randy could still be alive as well. Maybe they just decided to not bring him in, but he's still out there somewhere. But I don't really think that he is personally, but it's fun to, theorize, as I was saying, come up with a lot of like theories. Because they were originally gonna, bring him back, as well, along with Stu. So I mean, who's to say that? Like, why would they try to bring back a dead person again? If that character's dead, like, so I really don't know. There's just so many clues out there about, that's why I feel like Stu's going to return. I feel like that he's going to return. That's just my opinion. Like, I don't want to get my hopes up, but it feels like that's what they're doing. You know, uh, that's what it feels like, anyways. Especially with like all the clues. I was watching an interview with Emma Watson recently. She said that she'll be interested in returning for Scream 7. I can't remember where I saw it, but she said she'll be interested. Oh, that's awesome. I don't remember who that is. Um, I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of actors out there that were interested in being in a Scream film, like um, oh yeah, Emma Watson. Yeah, she's the one that was in the. She was in Harry Potter, I believe. I know what actor you're talking about. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of actors out there um that were rumored to be in the Scream film. Like, I heard a rumor a while back. I think for Scream 4 it was that we were gonna get. Obviously, we were gonna get. We were gonna get supposedly Jennifer like Aniston or something in Scream 4. Supposedly, that's what I've heard. Of course, that's just a rumor, but anyways, they didn't do that anyway. But I heard that that was gonna happen. That they, before Scream 4 came out, of course. So there's a lot of people seem that seem to be interested in a screen being in a Scream film. Um, I don't know necessarily she was interested, but I mean, I just heard a lot of rumors, and then obviously the Selena Gomez rumors, which obviously that didn't happen. Um, we heard a lot of rumors, about um, I heard a lot of rumors about other actors, potentially being in a Scream film, but it just didn't happen. Probably because of like money and all that. But what are the chances Stu would wear his old Ghostface mask and bro for Scream 7? Oh, that's what I've been saying as well. Maybe he's gonna wear, because I think personally that the mask needs to like look like old. You know what I mean? Like it needs to like look like really like dusty, like dirty looking. Um, I wouldn't mind that. And I've also been saying too that Stu needs to also have like some kind of like scars on his face, from the TV, some kind of like mark. He's got to have some like marks. Yes, Red is my dog. Oh, that's awesome, man. It's awesome. No, I mean that the stew house, the stew replica house, we see reason. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. What are the chances Randy and Dewey were killed because they were both knew Stu was alive? That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe because they did know. You know what I'm saying? And that makes a lot of sense. A lot of people also say that, maybe it was Stu that killed Randy and maybe it was Stu that killed Dewey. You know? Even though, Miss Loomis says that she was the one that killed Randy. But that could all just be a lie. Um, because if you really think about it, again, there's just no way a girl's gonna manhandle a man, especially when Dewey got killed. There's just no way that she's basically lifting. You're telling me that a girl's gonna be able to lift a man off his toes, like off his feet? Like he was practically off his, like he was on his tippy toes, like, but he was like being like lifted up, like, so you're trying to tell me that like a girl is gonna be able to lift a man up like that, like, and don't get me wrong, I mean there is girls out there that are strong, and nothing against girls, but there's a lot of strong girls out there. I know there's a lot of strong girls out there that are very, there's some girls that could legitimately beat up a man, which I totally believe that. But I mean, this is just that's just so unrealistic because again, she's basically like lifting him off his like toe, like his feet, like he's basically on his tippy toes, and she's like lifting him up, like. And a lot of people don't say, and a lot of people are saying that she, he wasn't being lifted up and all that, but yeah, he was. You know, you could tell that he was being lifted up. He's basically on his tippy toes, practically. And yeah, you could say like certain camera views and all that can make it look like a man, but that's that's stupid. You know, I don't think a camera angle is gonna change anything. Like, the real mystery for me in Scream 4, how would the killer, the bloody ghost face mask, and a Sydney rental car, and now I don't know. Yeah, I don't really understand what you're trying to say. I don't really understand what you're trying to ask. If you could retype it for me, I would appreciate that. How come in the Scream franchise has such a big impact in the horror community now than it did when we were growing up? Well, because now there's a lot more, it's a newer generation now, you know. There's a lot more people that are interested in new films, new horror films, and A lot of people, those people that didn't grow up in our era, that watch the Scream films, and they don't really understand Scream. So, but a lot of people today, obviously, there's a lot of people that don't really know that's never watched Scream. Um, but I think it's more like I think it's more famous now because obviously it's a new we have like a new generation, like there's like younger people, like new fans, um because obviously back in our day it was popular too, but it's even more popular because you're like there's like new, like I was saying, new generation, like new fans, and whatnot. So who was the actress? Sydney's cousin in Scream 4. You're talking about Emma Roberts. I think that's who you're talking about. Yeah, she was obviously the killer. Her name is Emma Roberts. The actor name, if that's what you're trying to ask. I've seen an interview with Emma Roberts lately. She said that she'll be interested in returning for Scream 4 to play Jill again. You mean Scream 7? Um, yeah, I've actually heard. I heard that she was interested in returning, in Scream 7. Um, and of course, I don't really think that it's going to happen because like my take on that, like I don't think that she would survive like paddles to the head. Like I just don't think that she would because again, she would be basically brain dead right now. Um, her brain would just be like fried. So I just don't see like why she would like. I just don't see how like I just don't see that happening. Um, but I guess if it does happen, hey, and it's not that I hate the character Jill Roberts. I love Jill. Jill Roberts is probably one of my favorite killers in the franchise. Like I don't hate like the character or anything like that. I'm just being like realistic, like I just don't think she's gonna survive like paddles. Like, are you gonna pick like a TV over paddles? Like, are you gonna pick the paddles over a TV? Well, probably gotta pick the TV because at least you could like lift it up with your arms, and it's not like, and again, it's not like electricity's flowing through the front of the glass as to where paddles, you basically have electricity like going into your brain, like so. That's what people don't really like understand, I guess. Like, if it was Stu that did kill Dewey, how will you know which hospital he was at, and how would you know which floor and how he would find him? I don't really know. That's a good question because that's a really good question. Maybe he just knew automatically because again, you don't remember when you don't remember when. So this is what happened. Obviously, you remember. I think so. Obviously, Sam because obviously Tara was in trouble. So then obviously Sam and Dewey went to the hospital together, and obviously Tara was basically going to be getting attacked by the killer or whatever, and the killer was there somehow. So I don't really know necessarily like how I don't know personally like how he got like how he knew, but I think it's because he was talking to Sam on the phone. So that I think that could have been how he known. Obviously, that's the most that's the most logic, the most logical way that he would have known. I think. So I mean, I really don't know. Honestly, it's a good question, man. It's hard to explain, and maybe that's why Scream Five is just so disliked because stuff like that they don't really explain like how he knew and like how the killer knew. But movies ain't gonna be realistic, I guess. So I got something to confess. You, my fiance and my sister are both stronger than me, but sometimes I'm stronger than them. Oh, yeah, that's all right, man. You know, there's a lot of people that are like that. A lot of girls, as I was saying, there's a lot of girls, a lot of strong women out there. And I'm not saying that there's not any strong women out there, but there's just no way that you're just gonna lift, especially when you're like at 5'9", 5'8". Like, there's no way you're gonna be able to lift a guy, especially a guy that's like 6'2". There's no way you're gonna lift him up practically off his feet like that. Like, there's just no way, especially being that short. Like, I mean, the scene where we see Sid in her book to her speech. I find the ghost face mask and knife and run her car. Why the killer put them in scene? Oh, I know what you mean. I don't know. That's interesting. Maybe he just maybe he got the license plate number. I don't know. There's a lot of I don't know. That's a good question. The closest costume store. Um, so the closest one by my house, there is a Halloween shop around here. Like obviously that I used to when I was like a kid. I used to honestly go there. And it's still open right now. Well, not right now, but it's only open around Halloween. But there's like a costume place called I forget the name of it. Um, I think it's Fun Facts. I believe it is. It's obviously a Halloween shop, of course. You get like decorations there. You obviously got costumes and whatnot. Um, and then obviously there is another one. There's another one that I forget the name of it, but they shut one of them down because one of them didn't really do good in like in business. So they one of them like had to shut down. Sadly, um, I'm gonna have to look up real fast because there is a lot of Halloween shops in my area. Oh yeah, Party City. Yeah, so Party City, we have a party. I have a Party City in my area, like where I live, which that's another great place. Obviously, that's where you could get like certain like candy and whatnot too. Um, we could get candy at like at the dollar store too, but and obviously, oh yeah, Halloween City as well. So Halloween City is the one that I believe that it closes like so it basically closes on like it's only open around Halloween. So and it closes like during like going into like the winter and whatnot. But yeah, we got quite a bit over here in my area. Party City, of course, got um, Halloween City, of course. So yeah, I mean we got a lot. Okay, say it was Stu that did because you have a fireplace. Amber take out a card for it. Well, that's the thing that we don't know, and maybe the reason why, maybe she's related to Stu, somehow, you know, and maybe she took credit for it because obviously you're not going to come out and just say again that oh hey he's Stu's alive. Like no, again she's going to lie about it and take credit for it to get us basically theorizing about it more. Um, but yeah, I don't think that. I just don't think that she killed him, man. This is no way. I watched that film so many times, and when you could like pause it in certain areas, you just know that there's no way that that's a girl, you know. Um, and a lot of people will say, well, it's the camera angles again, but camera angles ain't gonna make somebody look taller than what they really are, you know. It's just not realistic. I've been studying and researching and watching Sue's death or Dewey's death, excuse me, for a long time now. Starting to come to conclusion. It was Stu that did it. Dewey. Yep, I think so as well. Because again, obviously it wasn't Richie because Richie was getting attacked. So at the same time, I think Stu appeared in I think Stu appeared in also the opening scene as well. When Tara got attacked or whatever. I think that was also Stu. And the reason why I say that is because, again, if and a lot of people will say, well, maybe it was like a pre-recorded video or whatever. So it could have been no, dude. There's just no way, because again, this killer's like tall, like, and Amber is around maybe like 5'7", around there 5'8". And yeah, this like basically just towering over the Terra, like. So it's just like I don't understand. Like people say, and then Richie, of course, if you don't remember, he said that he was basically like out of town. So you got to ask yourself, like, who, like, who could that have been? Well, I think it could have been Stu, because of course you could say, well, it was a pre-recorded video or something when Amber was basically at her house, or whatever. You could say that, but honestly, I don't really think that's the case personally, because again, the killer is like tall, like he looks like he's like 6'4", even like 6'5", close to it, like. But I think he's around like 6'4" at least, and he looks pretty tall. So man, I remember Halloween. I had a lot of great memories of Halloween. A lot of great memories. Like, I used to dress up all the time. I used to dress up as Ghostface. I think I dressed up as Ghostface like the most out of anyone else. If I'm being honest with you, I would dress up sometimes as like Spider-Man or Batman here and there, but I'd mostly dress up as like Ghostface. Ghostface definitely the most when I was a kid. And also used to dress up as like Batman, of course, and Michael Myers and Jason. I dressed up as Jason probably a couple times when I was a kid. And then I dressed up also as Michael Myers, when I was also a kid as well, a couple times. But I've been Ghostface hands down like the most. Probably like out of all the, like I've been Ghostface the most when I was a kid. Especially those old masks that you would get from like the dollar store. Basically, like you could like squeeze it or whatever, and the blood would like come out. Basically, like have like blood. It's obviously fake blood, but I remember those masks when I was like a kid. I used to. But I also remember the Ghostface masks that were basically like glow in the dark, like ones that you could buy for like $2 or like $5. Like they were really cheap. And I remember those when I was a kid as well. as I was saying, I used to dress up as Ghostface, hands down, like the most. Like out of everyone else, Ghostface is like I dressed up as Ghostface the most. And as I was saying, I dressed up also as I'm trying to think who else I dressed up. I think I dressed up also as so I dressed up as Batman before, Spider Man. So I'm going to tell you a little story here, okay? So when I was a kid, of course, I remember when I was like a Batman one year for Halloween. Um, and I remember I was going to the up to the obviously to get candy or whatever. Well, I remember when I was a kid, I walk up there, get candy or whatever, and all of a sudden this other kid just pops out of nowhere and scares the hell out of me. Um, he's wearing like a ghost face mask, and I remember it. I used to be like, I remember it, like started like crying and whatnot, because I was like scared, you know. But I remember when I was a kid, like I'd walk up and they just like jump out at you with the ghost face costume or whatever. Um, man, I had a lot of great memories. I could tell you that of Halloween. Like Halloween is probably like the best. I think Halloween is the best. Well, one of the best. Like if you want to consider it to be a holiday, I guess I don't really think it's a holiday. Personally, it's just like basically just get candy and you wear costumes. That's basically it. Um, but I did have a lot of memories, with Halloween. Um, as a kid, as far as like dressing up, um, getting candy. Just had so many memories, man. Like, um, and I remember one time I was, like I was saying, I was Michael Myers for Halloween one time. Actually, a couple times. And Jason. It's obviously those Jason costumes where, like, they were like $1 or something. Like, they're basically at the dollar store. And it would come, like, with the fake plastic, like, machete or something like that. Like, man, I had a lot of good times. Halloween is definitely the best. Definitely had the definitely had a lot of great memories for sure. And I wish I was a kid again. You know, I wish I was a kid again, but unfortunately, you can't be a kid again. Because you can't go back in time, sadly. But man, I just had so many great memories, man. Like, huh, good times, man, good times. But now that I'm older, obviously don't dress up no more. Of course, because I'm a grown up now. I mostly just pass out candy, which is kind of weird. Um, it's just weird not being a kid no more. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna tell you basically another story real fast. So I basically, I don't know if you've ever been to like a haunted house, but I've never ever been to a haunted house before, and I never plan to, because the reason why I never plan to is because I just don't really. I've just always been like kind of like scared. Like, I wouldn't say like scared or anything, but when I was a kid, I was definitely like really scared to go to, the haunted houses and whatnot. Um, but obviously now that I'm older, I wouldn't really be scared now. But um, I'm too old for that, personally. But when I was a kid, I used to go to, the haunted houses, like, or my parents had basically asked me to, like, if I wanted to go to any haunted houses, or, and I'd be like, I'd just get like, I would just be too scared to, because um, but yeah, definitely had a lot of great memories. Had a lot of great movies back in the day. I just feel like, movies nowadays, just ain't as good as they used to be. And I'm not saying that movies today are like garbage, because there is a lot of good ones today, but a lot of them are just really not creative. And it's kind of sad, like where they have gone. Like the older movies, like back in my era, like back in like the early 2000s, those movies are probably like the best. You know, definitely like the best. And nowadays, movies just ain't as good. But of course, if it's like a Scream film, Halloween film, uh, Friday the 13th, whatever it is, of course, I'm still gonna watch it, even if it may be trash or terrible. I still gotta watch it because I'm a fan of the Scream films. I've always been a fan of the Scream films, and of course, no matter how trash it is, I still gotta watch. I can't see myself not watching it. You know, I have to watch because I watched them basically, practically my whole life. Well, since when I was a kid. Okay, so I don't know if I told you guys a story, but when I was a kid, the first Scream film that I watched was Scream 3, which, and the reason why I borrowed the box set from a friend, I believe it was. It was back in those days when you had like before, uh, you had like those tapes or whatever, like before, like when you had like VCRs, um, before like CDs came out. Well, and that was like in the early like 2000s. Well, I remember when I borrowed the Scream box set from a friend. You know, and I remember watching Scream 3 as a kid, like, and that was I don't know if I told you guys that, but that's the first film that I watched. And then obviously I went back and watched like the other ones, obviously later, but Scream 3 was like the first actual Scream film that I've watched as a kid. I just happened to just like put it in and watch it, And I was probably around, I would say, maybe like 5 years old, maybe even maybe even 6 years old, like watching a Scream film, like. But that's basically how That's basically how I became like a Scream fan, was because I watched Scream 3 first, and then after that, like later, as I was saying, I watched the other ones like later, and then I just became a fan because again, if you guys don't know, I was born in 1998. Yeah, I said it. I gave away my birth date there, but I was born in 1998, so I was not around when Scream 1996 came out, nor Scream 1997. So because I was born in 98 and I was when Scream 3 came out, I was around maybe like 2 years old, or maybe even three. Well, so 1998, yeah, 2 years old. So I was only 2 years old when Scream 3 came out. Um, but yeah, just been a fan ever since, of the franchise. Just going back, like as I was saying, watching Scream 3 first, and then going back to watch the other ones, and that's why I like Scream 3 so much. Again, and I never really understood like why people hated that film, because I think it's the most. I think it's honestly it's my second favorite personally. As you guys know, in my Scream rankings, I have it number two. Um, and then obviously Scream 1996, of course, is always going to be the best. So, but Scream 3, the reason why I like it so much is because not only that it was the first Scream film that I watched when I was a kid, but it was also I think it had like one of the best like openings like in the franchise, like, and that's just my opinion. And a lot of people don't really like it, again, because of all the issues that it has, the whole Roman thing. But hey, man, I personally liked it. I personally enjoy it. It's always going to be my second favorite film in the franchise. I will never have a problem with it. And a lot of people have their own preferences. A lot of people don't really understand, I guess, like the story um, too much. And I think the main reason why I think a lot of people give it crap again is because there was only one killer that was revealed, and they expected to have a second one, which I didn't really mind having one killer, because that goes to show that how intelligent Roman is as a killer. So, but obviously, yeah, there was a second killer, like secretly, of course. But obviously, Angelina wasn't like revealed, which we think that she was a second killer. She was supposed to be, but I think she still was, even though they didn't like reveal her as one. But when you're like a kid, you don't really think about any of that. When I was a kid, I didn't really think about any of that, about the whole Angelina thing, until I got like older. You don't realize it till you get older. Then you start realizing like, oh well, I think she was a second killer. You know, um, but yeah, there's just a lot of things that there's just a lot of things I like about the film. Just a lot of I just like the setting. I like the characters. I think the characters are really enjoyable. I enjoy the characters a lot. Um, and yeah, it's definitely one of the best. I think it is, and I know a lot of people are probably gonna, hate me for. Well, I know a lot of people are gonna give me crap for saying this, but honestly think honestly think it's the best. I think it's the best Scream film, like in the whole franchise, personally. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, it's not better than Scream 1996. Well, it isn't, but and of course it's always going to be Scream 1996 again is always going to be number 1. But I have to I have to put Scream 3 at number 2, but like behind it. Um and of course the people, when they give like killer rankings, like who their favorite killers are, well, like in film, I would say like my favorite killer, and a lot of people may disagree, but my favorite killer is Roman. Like everyone already knows that. You guys already know that, Roman's basically like my favorite in the whole franchise. But I'm not saying that he's better than like Billy Loomis. I'm not saying that he's better than Matthew Lillard or anything, but or Stu. I said Matthew Lillard. Well, that's the actor name, but uh, so yeah. So I don't really think that he's not. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's better than Billy Loomis or Stu Macher, but I think that he was smarter. Like I think Roman was smarter than them. Like, which I know a lot of people are probably going to give me crap for saying that, but um, how expensive in Scream costumes are you? I would say, yeah, I would say they're pretty cheap. Some of them go for like really like over $100 because a lot of them they have like actual like replica, like replica costumes and all that. So those are gonna be like those cost a lot of money. But if you're talking about like the regular, they're pretty cheap, I would say. Excuse me. I need your help, my friend. I dressed up as Ghostface last Halloween. I'm stuck between dressing up as Michael Myers or Ghostface again. Can you give me an honest opinion and help me out? Hey man, go with who you want. You know, you could dress up whoever you want, man. Michael Myers is pretty. Ghostface is pretty cool. Dress up whoever you want, man. I mean, if you want to go with Michael Myers, go ahead. If you want to go with Ghostface, man, go ahead, man. You do you. Either or, I can't really give you a suggestion. Um, our Ghostface mask over here, MSRP is between $59 or sometimes. Wow, that's pretty expensive there. Yeah, I think the ones here go about probably closer to that as well. But if you get them at like, because a lot of them, they're cheaper at like the dollar store, which little they're a little cheaper. When I was a kid, I had a glow in the dark ghost face mask, but I lost it years ago back. I did too, yep. Because I had a ghost face mask when I was a kid. It was actually like a glow in the dark. And I lost it. And I never understood like what happened to it or anything. It just got lost. Never found it. That was all. It was just gone. So I really don't know necessarily like what happened to it or anything because I just don't know what happened. Maybe I accidentally threw it in the trash when I was a kid. I don't know. But I did have it. I did have I had a couple of them actually. I had the ones that you get at the dollar store, and then also the ones, also the glow in the dark. But then they had like this like foam one, like this foam mask or whatever. Um, but I remember when I lost mine too, and I lost quite a bit of costumes. You know, when I was a kid, I lost. I think I had my Michael Myers, mask still somewhere, and then I also had a Jason mask when I was also a kid. Like, and I just lost them for like I don't know what happened. Just disappeared, and I was kind of disappointed because kind of wanted to keep it, but I was a kid and obviously I just don't ever know. Didn't know what happened to it, you know. Sadly, my favorite killers are Billy and Stu. Yeah, a lot of people will go with Billy Loomis all the time, and I don't blame people for doing that. But I personally think that Roman is he's the smartest, and obviously he's the one that he's the one that started the events of Scream 1996. So, but of course, I'm always gonna like Stu. Of course, I'm always gonna like Billy Loomis. But how much would it cost to buy an actual costume? There's no movie night replica. Actual costume. I don't really know. I really don't know. It would probably cost like over $200. I would say, because it's obviously if you're trying to get like a replica, like an actual like replica like robe or whatever, those would like be like 2,000 or not 2,000, over $200 probably, because obviously those are expensive. But yeah, let's talk about a little bit about Halloween. All right, I just kind of wanted to change it up a little bit. Then after that, we could talk about some Friday the 13th or something. Um, but yeah, the Halloween franchise, we don't know when it's going to come back. Of course, um, all we know is that if we know it's definitely going to come back at some point, just don't know how long. We're going to have to wait. Um, but I just want to talk about something real fast. A lot of people I want to talk about something that a lot of people have a problem with. A lot of people out there don't feel like Michael Myers should return, which I kind of agree with that in a way. You know, I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, like I don't agree with it, because if a lot of people just don't think that he should come back, a lot of people have a problem with him coming back because he basically got thrown into that machine or whatever. And a lot of people just don't think that he should come back. Well, I think that as long as they follow like a whole new like timeline or something, I really don't mind. I really don't mind because if they follow a whole new timeline or something, like let's say they basically like start over again. Well, I basically I don't have a problem with that. Now, if they were to follow the same timeline or something, like follow the events of Halloween Ends, well, then I guess I would have a more of a problem with that because you're basically doing a follow up, you know. But as long as you're not doing a follow up, I don't have a problem with it. So, I mean, there's just a lot of people out there that say that they don't think that the Halloween franchise should come back because they feel like the Michael Myers character is dead or what. And I agree with it. Michael Myers is dead. He got shredded to pieces. But at the same time, if they're gonna follow a whole new timeline, basically starting over again, don't have a problem with that because you're basically starting over. So, and this franchise makes a lot of money. Makes a lot of money. It's a famous, really famous franchise, and makes a lot of money. So it'd be hard for them to just not make it, right? So, but there's a lot of like rumors out there. Like we don't know like what they're gonna do. Are they gonna do a follow up from Halloween 4? Are they gonna do a follow up from like H2O? I really think that they're gonna do a follow up. I think they're gonna do basically a follow up from Halloween 4. And the reason why I say that is because again, and Halloween 4 is probably like my favorite. And of course, a lot of like people are going to say 1978 is the best. Of course, the original is always going to be the best. But I've always enjoyed Halloween 4. I've always enjoyed like the look of Michael Myers in that film. I enjoyed like the characters in that film as well. I never had a problem with it, but a lot of people didn't really care for like the look of Michael Myers in that movie, which is okay. A lot of people again have different preferences, I guess. But again, I think the main problem that people have with I think the Halloween film that people hate the most is probably Halloween 5. And the reason why people hate that film is because of the mask. The mask basically looks like a witch. Doesn't even look like the actual Michael Myers mask. So a lot of people have a problem with that, but I think that Halloween 5 is definitely good. I think it's a good film. It's just like the mask. I think it's just the mask that is the main problem. Um, but other than that, I think it's a great film. But anyway, so yeah, I do think that this new Halloween film, whenever they release it, I think that they should do a follow up of Halloween 4. That's just my opinion on that. And I might very well do that. Um, and a lot of people are saying that because obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis is not going to be in the film, not going to be in, another one, because obviously Halloween Ends was her like last. But what they're going to do, I think, is they're going to have like newer characters, of course. It's going to be like similar to Scream, I think, to where it like you basically have like newer generation of characters and whatnot. Like, so you're basically gonna have a new like final girl. Uh, there's new characters like in general, because obviously the Laurie Strode character is, as much as I want the Laurie Strode character back. We can't keep on continuing. We gotta at some point move on to the new, like I guess like the new like generation, like so I really don't blame, I really don't have a problem with that. But because again, what, we can't have Laurie Strode forever. um I wish we could, but we can't. So yeah, I think they're gonna have another they're gonna have new characters, of course. Then there's a lot of rumors about like Daniel Harris potentially coming back, which I think that's a possibility as well, especially if they follow the Halloween 4. But the main question is like how long do we have to wait now? Because Halloween Ends, of course, was probably the worst in the franchise. Well, I would say Halloween 3 is the worst, just because Michael wasn't in it, and just because it was they named it Halloween. I would say that film was the worst, but Halloween Ends, at least you get to see the character a little bit. So I guess that Halloween Ends is, I guess, a little better than Halloween 3, at least, right? Um, because again, you get to see the character, so it's not like you don't get to see, like, as in Halloween 3, you don't get to see the character at all. So, um, but even though, like, yeah, Halloween Ends was probably hands down the worst, one of the worst movies in the franchise, just absolutely just pointless. At like that Corey Cunningham character, I just don't understand like that character. Like, I don't understand. You guys know like the issues that it has. Um, but I don't have a problem with like the actor. The actor did a good job. It was just the character. Like the character, the Corey Cunningham character is basically he's not even in. So basically, you don't even explain like who he is in the other films. Like, so he basically just pops up out of nowhere, and you don't do like a follow up or anything. Like, you don't like introduce his character in like, let's say like Halloween like Kills or something, or Halloween 2018. That's kind of like, I guess, like my problem. And they basically just put him in the movie for no reason. Didn't really explain. They didn't really have a follow up. He just basically appeared, in the film, basically like for no reason. And then on top of that, Michael Myers, Michael basically has like a partner, which is another issue that I have, which Michael Myers should never have a partner in any Halloween film. Like, so that's my other issue. Um, so I personally, Halloween Ends. We already know they rushed that film. That film was absolutely rushed. You know, Blumhouse absolutely rushed that film. And Jason Blum, you know, I nothing against him or anything as a person, but as a director, he's just not that great to me. You know, you say one thing, you say that he's supernatural, but then you don't, and you keep on, you know, saying that he's supernatural, but then you keep showing us that he's not supernatural. It's just like make up your mind, you know. Like, is Michael Myers supernatural or is he like? Can you make up your mind? Like, so that's kind of the thing that I guess I had a problem with. Couldn't be like just make up your mind, bro. Like, you said that he was supernatural. Like, um, but yeah. So Halloween Ends is without a doubt. It was definitely bad. It went, you know, it turned out absolute dumpster fire of a film. And of course, yeah. And you know what's crazy is that I collect all the Halloween films, but I don't have Halloween Ends yet in DVD. But I do plan on getting it, and I know a lot of people. You know, I know that I'm shitting on the film. Excuse again, sorry for my language, but I know I'm like crapping on the film right now. But I have to have it in my collection, you know, because again, it's a part of the franchise. So I have to have it in my collection, even though it's not a good film. Like as I was saying, you know, like same with Halloween 3. I don't like that film, and I still have that. But even though I can't watch that film within like 5 seconds, like in the first like 2 minutes of the film, I'm already like getting tired of it already. Like because Michael's not in it, and then obviously um, the Shamrock series song, like that commercial, that was probably like the most annoying part. But yeah, that film I can't even sit. I can't even watch that film for like three. I can't even watch that film for like 5 seconds without turning it off. It's crazy. I would say maybe like 5 minutes. Then I'm like, oh, well, this movie's boring as hell already. Like, then I'd have to go to the next one. I'm like, no, I'm watching Halloween 3 or Halloween 4. That's just how bad it is, in my opinion. There's a lot of people that are a fan of it. You know, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad that you liked it. But for me, it's just a absolute dumpster fire of a film. And the reason is again because you named it Halloween. So you named it Halloween, but you know everyone was expecting Michael to be in the film. So that was kind of like my issue. That's probably one of my only issue is that you named it Halloween, but you didn't put Michael in the film because everyone was, you know, basically expected him to be in the film. Uh, That was kind of like my only issue. If it was named something else, if it was named something different, I wouldn't have had a problem. Let's say if it was like named, um, say it's like named just Season in the Witch or something. You know, without naming it Halloween. And okay, I wouldn't have had a problem with that because it's not portrayed as a Halloween film. Because when you name it Halloween, everyone wants to see Michael, you know, do the killings and all that. You know, and that's basically why people pay their money. They want to, they want to see like the character, which that's the reason why people watch the films. But yeah, I think I'm just very, very curious. How long do we have to wait until we get another one? Because I'm just very, very curious, how long we're going to have to wait. It could be 10 years. I think 10 years may be a little bit too long, personally. But I think maybe like 5 years, or maybe 5 years down the line, I could definitely see like 5 years, And I also wouldn't be surprised if they did something. I also wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if they made it into like a TV series, which a lot of people have been talking about that as well. About a TV series, which we all know a lot of these franchises turn into TV series. So, like obviously Scream, Candyman. There's talks about obviously Friday the 13th is coming back with the TV series, of course. And then obviously you got I heard talks about like a Nightmare on Elm Street TV series as well, but I'm not 100%. And then I also heard another rumor. I forget what it was. I don't know if it was maybe Texas Chainsaw, but there was another franchise that was going to be like a TV series, which I do think that at some point Halloween is definitely going to be like a TV series once they're finished making the films. Like I think they're definitely going to end up being like TV series like somewhere down the line, because of course they're not going to make movies like forever, but at some point they're gonna probably take a break and end up doing like some kind of like TV series, as I was saying. And I could totally see that happening in the future, just like with Friday the 13th, just like Chucky. I forgot. Yeah, Chucky has a TV series. That's the other one. So yeah, Chucky has a TV series as well. So I mean, you got Scream the TV series, you got Chucky, you got Candyman, you got maybe Nightmare on Elm Street. So I just really wouldn't be surprised if they, I guess, decided to do that like in the future with Halloween. If you ask my honest opinion, Jamie Lee Curtis ruined the last two Halloween movies for me. She rewrote the script and she became director. Series read to Daniel. Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I don't like it when people are like that, but hey, I guess people got their own, personalities, right? So yeah, obviously the Friday the 13th franchise or the Friday the 13th TV series, which you know, that should be really, really exciting as well. Um, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, so let me look at the release date because I don't know when the release date. Okay, so sometime in. So it says Peacock has announced. So Peacock has announced that its adaptation of Crystal Lake will be released in 2024. So sometime this year. So I don't know what time, like month. I'm assuming probably around. I'd probably say maybe around Halloween time. I mean that sounds about right. Like Octoberish. Um, well, and what's another? This is really, really interesting as well. Um, so Friday the 13th had a TV series back in. Friday the 13th had a TV series back in 1987 with 3 seasons, it looks like. So Friday the 13th has had, it looks like a TV series like before. Which that's very, very interesting. I didn't ever know that. I thought this was something like new. Um, and then also, I don't know if you're a gamer, Scott Walker, but they are making a new Friday the 13th game. They just they didn't just announce it. I think they announced it sometime. I think around like last summer or something like that. They were talking about making. Obviously, they're going to be making a new Friday the 13th video game. Um, and it's obviously going to be. Supposedly it's going to be like a part two of the version that we already have, I believe. But there's another that maybe I think it's definitely going to be. I think it's going to be part two. Um, but as far as we know, it's not gonna. Obviously, it's not going to be made by Gun Media, of course. Um, it's going to be made by like Harry Manfredini was the one that announced that about the game. but I don't know what company it's going to be like. But anyway, so yeah, that's very very interesting there that they're making another Friday the 13th the game, which that's another that's very very interesting. I didn't think that they would make another game personally. But I do know that the reason why they're probably making another one is because the lawsuit. You guys don't know, like the Friday the 13th franchise was the reason why it disappeared for so long is because obviously the lawsuit. So, um, and that's the reason why the game didn't get like updated or anything because of the lawsuit. Um, but now the lawsuit is over with, so they're going to be making another game. Now, we don't know anything about it, of course. All we know is that it's going to be more realistic. That's all they really said. It's going to have better graphics, of course. Just better like mechanics, I guess. Um, so I mean, I really don't know what it's going to be like. Like I don't know anything else. We don't know anything else, of course. We don't know about like in terms of like this, like we don't know anything about it. All we know is that there's going to be another game, um, which is really really interesting. And I didn't really think that we would get another game because again, I really really that thought that they were just gonna. I didn't think they would make a part two because I'm assuming this is gonna be like a part two of Gun Media's version. So that's very very interesting, guys. Like I can't wait to see what it's gonna be like. I really hope it's a good game. Hopefully it's not like terrible or anything. Hopefully it's good because obviously you guys know my problems with Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, which that game is not. I mean, it's okay. When I first started playing it, I had a lot of fun. But then once you start getting into it a little bit more, you're just like, it's a little boring, at times. And the reason why too is because you only have like 4 survivors, which is kind of boring. That's not fun at all, in my opinion. So hopefully it's better. Hopefully it's better. Hopefully it's has the same amount of survivors in a game. Because that's what made Friday the 13th the game somewhat like. I feel like it was just funner because of that because it had a lot more survivors in it. And that's what made it. I think that's what made it funner. But yeah, so Friday the 13th, the game, obviously a new one coming out. We don't know when, but yeah, very interesting. Just need to make a Halloween game now or a Scream game, which obviously Scott Walker here is mentioning a Scream game. Has there been any news about a Scream video game? Nope. There hasn't been any news about a Scream video game. I've never heard anything about a Scream video game being made at all. Now I did hear that there was some kind of like indie company like that was gonna make it or something like that. But I really don't know. I don't know if they're actually making it or not. I don't know. I haven't heard any news about like a Scream video game. But we definitely need one. Same with like I was saying, Halloween. But I feel like Scream would be like the funnest because basically like because of like the who done it factor, you know, you could like do a lot of stuff. But yeah, Halloween. We definitely need a Halloween video game now. Before Texas Chainsaw the game came out, I thought that you know that we were gonna get a Halloween game, you know, because there was a whole bunch of rumors circulating that it was gonna be Halloween. But then when they said it was Texas Chainsaw, well, then I was like, dang, that's kind of unfortunate. Which I have nothing against. Again, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I was hoping it was going to be a Halloween game. Um, because again, I just felt like it just made a lot of sense. And it was the most popular film. Obviously, they had obviously Halloween Ends, Halloween Kills, of course, and then obviously 2018. So I thought it would, you know, it made the most sense. But maybe I do think that they will make a Halloween game somewhere down the line, like uh I don't know, like I think Gun Media will definitely make a Halloween one, like somewhere down the line. Just don't know when, you know. Um, but yeah, I think I definitely think there is gonna be a Halloween game come like next. I think that's the next like video game that they have like on their radar, like to make, because obviously it's one of the biggest, you know, franchises. And you obviously got, you know, Friday the 13th. They came out, they, you know, they made that game in 2017, of course. And so that was like the first horror game that they, you know, came out with. Which I didn't really have a problem with that, you know, because I always prefer Michael Myers more. But again, Jason is definitely more entertaining. You know, he's the most entertaining, like in terms of like kills. But yeah, so I hope they do. You know, I hope they make a Scream game as well, because again, Scream is just like there's just so many things that you could do. Like you get add like the who done it factor to it. Um, man, that'd be so fun. Like being able to like take off like the costume and putting it back on and all, dude, that'd be so fun. There's just like so many things that you could do. Um, Obviously, but yeah, Halloween. That's definitely. I think the next. I think that's the next video game. The next game that they're gonna be thinking about, like, because obviously it's one of the most famous franchises. You know, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest. So I just wouldn't be surprised. And then obviously they had a Chucky video game, which the Chucky video game, excuse me, the Chucky video game um, was supposed to come out, I believe, on the PS4. I believe it was. There was a game called, I forget the name of it now, but it was a Chucky video game that they were going to come out with. Um, but it was obviously on Steam, I believe it was. I forget. I don't really remember, but I'm gonna have to look that up real fast because I remember like the name of. Hold up, guys. Oh, it was called Charlie. I believe it was. It was a game called Charlie, and it was basically gonna be like it was gonna be a Chucky game. Um, and I was actually watching a lot of like gameplay. Because I remember seeing rumors about that, and then obviously Dead by Daylight, just added the Chucky skin. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was called Charlie. I'm pretty sure it was called Charlie. I'm pretty sure, 100%. But I remember seeing like gameplay about like of it. Like maybe they took it down. Maybe they just like canceled everything. They were gonna make it, but maybe it didn't make maybe it didn't make enough money. No idea. But I do know that they did add Chucky to Dead by Daylight, which in a DLC pack, which is pretty cool. I don't know. I don't know why Australia doesn't have that. Maybe it's because maybe just certain countries can't get it or something. I don't know. But yeah, I could have sworn, guys, the game was called it was called Charlie. Like I remember, um, everybody was basically like streaming it. Um, and it was going to be released. It was supposed to be released on the consoles, but I don't know what happened. Maybe it was because maybe they didn't release it because it didn't make enough money, or it could have been. Yeah, it could have been that, or it just could have been something else. But I could have sworn that there was a video game that was being made. Now, I do think that they will make a video game again because, they add all these characters to Dead by Daylight. like I was saying, they added Michael Myers, they added Leatherface, Ghostface, of course. What else is that? Obviously Chucky now, Pinhead, which Pinhead was the other one that they added. So it's just like, are they putting these like these killers? Are they putting these killers in the like in Dead by Daylight because maybe in the future they're gonna make like their own game? Maybe like Michael Myers will have his own game. Maybe Ghostface will have his own game. Chucky maybe too, which we talked about the Chucky game, which I don't know what happened with that, but yeah, I think it's interesting. I think that these like these like let's just say they added something else like they add Laurie Strode as well. So that's really interesting. But they did not add, Sydney or anything, which that would be really cool. That added Sydney to Dead by Daylight or like Dewey Riley or something. That would be really cool. Or like Randy Meeks. But I think like Dewey Riley would be cool, or like I was saying, Sydney. Um, because they did add, again, they did add Laurie Strode. Um, but yeah, Dead by Daylight is pretty fun. So I think this is basically I think this is like a setup here, man. Like all these all these horror icons are eventually going to have their own game. Obviously, Leatherface has his own game now, but you got obviously Ghostface, of course. You got Freddy Krueger, of course. You know, so and then obviously Halloween is like the biggest. So I don't really know if they're. I mean, they did the same thing with the like I was saying, Leatherface. They added Leatherface to Dead by Daylight, and then next thing you know, they made a Texas Chainsaw video game. So I really don't know like what they plan on doing like in the future. Like hopefully, I just want man, a Scream game would be so fun. But anyways, guys, I think I'm gonna probably call the night. I've been on here for at least like 3 hours. I'm gonna try to like get down to relaxing. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Be sure to hit the like button as always, as I was saying. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also comment down below. And again, for those of you that didn't get to watch, be sure to hit the replay button. So yeah, be sure to watch out for my stream on Saturday. Obviously, it will no longer be tomorrow because I will be out of town tomorrow. So it won't be tomorrow, but it'll definitely be on Saturday. So I'll definitely let you guys. You guys will definitely, and you guys know that we're going to be doing we're going to be talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, which that should be a lot of fun on Saturday. But anyways, y'all, be sure to hit the like button as always, and see you on Saturday. Good night, everyone.